guys, and welcome back to my channel again. So for today's video I'm going to do a tag video I've been wanting to do for a little while, but I was kind of in two minds whether to do it or not, and that is the controversial parenting tag. I've been in two minds, not because it's controversial, because I'm quite comfortable like sharing my opinion. I think everyone is entitled to their own opinion. I don't judge anyone else's, so I hope people won't judge mine. So it's not the fact it's controversial that is worrying me, it's the fact that I'm not strictly a parent, I guess. If you haven't watched my channel before, I'm currently 28/29 weeks pregnant, depending when you watch this, with my first baby, but this is my fourth pregnancy. I've had 3 previous miscarriages. So I'm not technically a parent in the sense that I don't have a living, breathing child outside of the womb currently. So I didn't want people to think that I was kind of having an opinion on something I'm not entitled to have an opinion to. But I think a lot of the debates in hand are ones that you kind of have an opinion on either way, and that won't change whether you have children or not. There are a few subjects I'm sure my opinion will change on when he is here, but I will kind of mention those as I go along. So yeah, if your opinion is different to mine, that is completely fine. I'd love to get a bit of a chat going in the comments, but let's keep it really respectful. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and I think as long as you're doing everything you can for your child, then it doesn't matter if your technique and views are different to mine and vice versa. So yeah, I'm just going to start running through the topics and I will let you know what I think. So, number 1 on the list is pro-life versus pro-choice. So this obviously relates to abortion. This is a tough one for me. Fundamentally, it's not tough in the sense that I am pro-choice. I think absolutely every woman has the right to make that choice. It is her body, and I think everyone deserves to have that choice. So in that sense, it's not a difficult one. I'm absolutely pro-choice. But having gone through infertility and recurrent miscarriage to get to this point now, I do find it difficult, because obviously when you're in that kind of mind frame where you would do anything to be pregnant, you know, you've gone through years of trying, you've had to go to the hospital, you've had to do various invasive tests, take medications, and I'm only on the bottom rung of that. People have IVF, people can't conceive at all, like there are a million different things, and for someone that has been through infertility to whatever level I have, which is nowhere near the highest level, I find it extremely difficult to understand how you would want to do that. There are so many scenarios where I can understand it, and I think that is why pro-choice is really the only option, and there are so many women that are in a position that I could relate to. But what I find difficult to relate to is if a woman is just using it as a form of contraception, if they're just not being careful and they just think, well, I can get an abortion if I do get pregnant, blah, blah, blah. That for me is not acceptable. I hope that doesn't offend anyone, but it's just, I'm sure you can understand where I'm coming from, I hope. Also, I just think there are so many people that aren't in a position to be able to have children who would love the opportunity to adopt a baby. I know expecting someone to carry a baby and then give it away is a whole another story, but if someone felt like they could do that, I think that is an amazing thing to do for someone else. So yeah, fundamentally I am pro-choice, but I do find it difficult in a lot of scenarios. Some scenarios, totally get it. I'm so rambling. I just hope you understand what I mean. Some scenarios I can completely understand why that is a woman's only choice, but if it is being used as a form of contraception, that is just a no-no for me personally. Number 2 is baby wearing. I don't see on what planet this is controversial. Yes, it's a choice. You either baby wear or you don't baby wear, but I don't think that's controversial. I would never personally judge someone who did, and I would never personally judge someone who didn't. I intend to baby wear if I can, if I like it, and if the baby likes it, I would love to baby wear. I think just on a practical level, I don't drive. say Andrew's at work and he's got the car and I need to get somewhere like on the bus. For me, the thought of like getting a pram on the bus, manoeuvring it around, there might already be other people with prams or wheelchairs, the whole thing just stresses me out. If I could just have my baby strapped to me in a sling or a carrier or a wrap or whatever, that for me sounds so much less stressful. So 100% for me, I am pro baby wearing, and I would love to give it a really good shot, and I hope that me and this baby can do the whole baby wearing thing. But if we can't and we don't get on with it, that's totally fine too, and I would never judge someone who didn't. So yeah, not controversial for me, but I am definitely pro baby wearing. Question 3 is circumcision. I don't think this is as big a thing in the UK as it is in America. Correct me if I'm wrong, American viewers, but when you have a baby who's a boy, are you instantly given the choice at birth to have them circumcised? Am I right in thinking that? Because that isn't a thing in the UK. In the UK, you only really get circumcised for religious reasons or for medical reasons. So I'm kind of neither here nor there with this one as well. I don't have any religious reasons to circumcise my baby, but if for some medical reason he needed that doing, fine, like better for him, whatever's best. I wouldn't do it unnecessarily because I don't see the point in putting my baby through unnecessary pain for what I don't really see as any kind of benefit. But if it was a medical reason, then by all means, all for it. So circumcision, yes, for medical reasons. Wouldn't do it for any other reason personally, but each to their own. Point number 4 is adoption. And for me, again, I don't see how this is controversial. I don't see how anyone could disagree with adoption. I think it is the most brilliant thing in the world. And I'm absolutely pro-adoption 100%. If I couldn't have my own children, I would absolutely adopt. There would be no two ways about it. At the same time, it's still not something I would rule out in the future. I think it's an absolutely brilliant thing. Also, my dad was adopted, so my grandparents on my dad's side are my adoptive grandparents, I guess. And my grandma was the most lovely woman in the world. And yeah, I don't see how anyone could possibly be against that. I don't think the ability to carry a baby and give birth automatically makes someone a good parent. And I think there are so many people out there that don't have that option, who can't carry a child for whatever reason, who should absolutely still be given the chance to be a parent and could make the most brilliant parents in the world. So I could not be more pro-adoption. I think adoption is the most wonderful thing ever. Question 5 is baby piercing. This for me is probably one of the most controversial ones, and I don't want to offend anyone who has their child's ears pierced, has their baby's ears pierced. That is completely up to you, but for me it just doesn't sit right with me. It's just a big no-no for me. I think I'm not big into religion, so if there are religious reasons why people get their child's ears pierced, please do tell me. I'm really interested in learning about other cultures, so I'd be really interested to know that. But if it is purely on a cosmetic level, I just don't agree with it. I think until that child is old enough to make their own decision about actively wanting their ears pierced, I just don't really get why you would put your child through pain just for them to have some like sparkly earlobes. Just get some stick-ons. It's just not for me. I just don't really like it, to be honest. So yeah, again, sorry, don't want to offend anyone. That's completely your decision. But I would personally never get my child's ears pierced. I think when they're in high school and they're old enough to make that decision, absolutely fine. But until that kind of age, it's just not for me. Question 6 is breast milk versus formula. So, I obviously haven't got to the point yet where I need to make that decision, but where I stand on the whole breast versus bottle thing is that absolutely fed is best. I don't really get why people concern themselves with how other people choose to feed their children. I just think, do what you're doing, and if your baby is happy and is being fed, what is the problem? There isn't a problem. Personally, I would love to breastfeed. I think there is no denying the fact. There is tons of scientific evidence to say that breast is best if you can and if you want to. I touched on this briefly in a video, and someone commented and said, you never meet someone in life, like in your adult life, you never meet anyone and think, bet they were formula fed, or I bet they were breastfed. Like, you just don't. Like, no one knows, no one cares. As long as your child is fed and they are healthy, it just shouldn't be an issue. I don't think any woman should be made to feel guilty for choosing how to nourish their child as long as their child is being nourished. And sometimes, sometimes breast versus bottle isn't an option for some people. Like, obviously you all know Lauren, her little boy Teddy, he had to be tube fed, he couldn't orally eat, and like, that's fine. No one would question that. So I just don't get why it's an issue. Personally, I would love to breastfeed. I hope I can breastfeed. I will give it a really good go. But if I can't do it and I want to bottle feed and it's better for me and it's better for baby, then I really don't care as long as my baby is being fed and is healthy. That's all anyone cares about, surely, and I don't think people should concern themselves with what other people are doing as long as that child is being fed. So, question 7 is one where not being a parent already in the traditional sense of the term makes this question a little bit difficult to answer, and that is the cry it out method versus other methods. I don't really know, to be honest. I can't give too much away on this question. I personally, as I stand now, and I might come back to you in however many months' time and say, well, I don't know why I was chatting then, but where I stand now, for me, cry it out isn't something I could see myself doing. It doesn't really sit right with me, and my kind of style of parenting I think I will have. The thought of leaving my child to cry just doesn't work for me. I think controlled crying, maybe, but just leaving them to kind of cry and settle themselves and self-soothe just isn't something I can see myself doing. Maybe more than anything just because I've wanted this baby for such a long time that I think I would find it absolutely impossible to hear my child cry and not go to them. So I think it wouldn't be a method I would use. I might change my mind on that, but for now I'm going to say it probably isn't for me, but I don't judge anyone that chooses that. It's just not really my style from what I think my style will be, if that makes sense. Okay, so question 8 is another quite controversial one, and that is spanking, or smacking as we would call it in the UK. And this is kind of along the same vein as the ear piercing thing. It is just not for me at all. It doesn't sit right for me at all. I can't see my opinion on this changing when I have a child. I don't see the benefit to it. I think there are other ways you can teach your child right from wrong without resorting to physical, not violence, because I know most people would just be like a tap, but for me I just don't think I would do that. I just don't think it's right for me. I also kind of struggle with the concept because say your child goes to school and your child hits another child, you have to tell them that that is wrong. How can you then do the same thing to your child at home but then tell them they are wrong if they go and do that same thing? I think children learn behaviour from us as parents, and I don't think you can do that but then tell them I can do it but you can't. It just doesn't work for me. So personally, it's a no. I don't personally agree with smacking my child, but you do you. Question 9 is co-sleeping. And I guess this all boils down to safety, really. If you are doing co-sleeping safely and your child isn't at risk of any kind of squashing or anything, yeah, why not? I think it's lovely to be able to have that bond with your child. I don't think I would personally have my child sleeping in my bed when they're small, when they're a baby, just because I think I would be so worried about like rolling over or something that for me, I wouldn't be getting good sleep, therefore my baby probably wouldn't be getting good sleep. But we have bought a snooze pod, so we've bought a co-sleeper. I really like the thought of being that close to my baby and being there for comfort and for support. So yeah, I think as long as co-sleeping is being done safely, I am all for it. Question 10 is home versus public versus private versus charter schooling. I'm guessing this is an American question. What is charter schooling? Is that like boarding school? If you are American, please tell me what charter schooling is. Is that like boarding school when you are sent away for school? I don't know. But for me, I mean, whatever way you want to school your child is cool with me. Personally, I will be going for a public school. I think it's really important that, for me, my child is used to integrating with other children of all different ethnic backgrounds, all different social backgrounds. That for me is really important. I want my child to be like aware of lots of different cultures, and I'm sure you do get that to a certain extent in private school, but I don't think quite as much so as you do in a public school, because anyone can go to a public school. There isn't kind of like a cost associated, so it doesn't rule out a lot of people from being able to go like a private school would. So yeah, I would personally want to send my child to a public school. I went to a public school. I went to a really, really good public school, got a great education, met loads of people from all different backgrounds, and I really, really enjoyed school. Homeschooling, again, if you are able to do that and you want to do that, then great. I personally wouldn't, because I haven't got the brains for homeschooling. I can't really remember anything I learned in school, let alone trying to teach it to someone else. So on a practical level, it just wouldn't work for me. But also, I think it is really important that my child socialises plenty, and I would worry that they're not getting enough social interaction by being at home with a parent all day. But if you can make that work for you, then great. I think it's brilliant, and they're getting a lot more kind of one-on-one time than they would at a school, but it's not for me. If charter schooling is boarding school, again, not for me. I think your child goes away when they go to university or move out and get the job, and I wouldn't want my child to leave me any sooner than they have to. I would want it to be them leaving because they have chosen to, not because I have sent them away. I know it's not like you're sending them away like you're banished, but no, I'm just a very homely person, and I know I would want my children around me so I could keep an eye on them. So yeah, again on that one, I think it's just whatever works for you, whatever works for your child. Personally, I would be picking a public school when that time comes, but whatever is best for your child so that they get the best education they can. Question 11 is vaccinations. Is this even a debate? I don't know. Why wouldn't you get your child vaccinated? If I am missing something, please let me know in the comments. I've seen a few people that have gone on like This Morning saying that they don't vaccinate their children because they don't believe in it and the world will heal them. But I think there are enough dangers in this world that are outside of our control that I would like to take every vaccination I'm offered to protect my child as much as I can. And I think I'm probably right in thinking most parents would say the same. So yeah, I'm not really sure what the debate is on that one. I would absolutely vaccinate my child from everything I can. There are so many things that are out of our control, health-wise, that you can't vaccinate against, that I think the things we can, why not just reduce that risk as much as possible? Number 12 is very similar, and that is medicating children. If my child was poorly, I wouldn't want to watch them suffer. If there was something I could give them that would make them feel better, as long as it wasn't a risk to their health, I would absolutely give them it. I'm sure most parents would. Yeah, I don't really know what more to say about that. I would give vaccinations to my children. I would let my children have vaccinations, and I would medicate them if they were unwell. Number 13 is cloth nappies versus disposable nappies. I would love to be able to do the whole cloth nappy thing. It is so much better for our environment. It's so much more cost effective. Like, there's no two ways about it. But I know me, I'm quite lazy. There's just no way it would happen. I'm disposable nappies all the way. Yeah. I know that's probably a little bit ignorant and not great when it is so much better for our environment to use cloth nappies, but I hate doing washing. I really hate doing washing. And the thought of having to wash pooey nappies in my washing machine. Doesn't appeal to me. I would rather just get that pooey nappy and put it in the bin. Yeah, completely comfortable with whatever decision people make. I really admire people that do the whole cloth nappy thing. I think it's brilliant, but I know me, and I know realistically, even if I set out with the best intentions to do it, I would end up resorting to disposables, so I'm not even going to bother. And the final question is store-bought baby food versus homemade. I think I'll do a mixture. You can get some really good store-bought food that's kind of all natural ingredients. It's like the Ella's Kitchen and all that I don't really know too much about yet because I haven't got a baby to feed. But yeah, I don't see why I wouldn't use them. My only thing is that they probably just work out quite expensive, so I would make my own. I'm a big cook. I'm not a great cook, but I cook a lot, so I'll absolutely do my own purees. That doesn't frighten me at all. And also, because I'm vegetarian and I do the cooking in my house, the only time Andrew tends to have meat is if he's like got in late for work and he chucks a pizza in and he has a meat pizza, or if we eat out he will eat meat, but I do all the cooking at home, so we tend to eat vegetarian. So our baby will mainly be brought up vegetarian. If they decide when they're older they want to eat meat, then that is their decision, but they will be vegetarian really. And the choice of vegetarian shop bought baby food I don't think is great. Obviously a lot of the like fruit and sweeter ones, fine, but I think the more kind of meal ones tend to be like meat based things like bolognese and that kind of thing, and there's no way I'd buy meat baby food for my child. Ugh, that's just not for me. So in that sense, I think in order to have plenty of option, I would end up cooking a lot of it myself. But yeah, whatever. Again, I'm not like judging anyone. I would do a bit of both, and whatever works best for your child and whatever works best for you is cool with me. So yeah, that is the end of this tag. If you want to do this video and you haven't already, please go ahead and do it and let me know in the comments so I can go over and watch it, because I'm obsessed with watching these videos. I love hearing people's opinions. I just find it really interesting. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there, guys, and I will see you all in my next video.